Thanks, Pete. I've worked on that soup all day long, and y'all are letting it get cold, so dig in. Insurance Industry Charitable Foundation, Texas and the Southeast. I just wanted to see if a fellow from Vernon could say that without catching a breath. We're so glad to have you here tonight. This evening we're going to have a great time, but before we even really get started, we've got some real stars and some real heroes among us. And I would love for the Wounded Warriors to all stand up and let us thank you for what you've done for our country. If that doesn't get your motor running, and if it doesn't make you appreciate what we got in this country, I don't know what's going to do that for you. Please hold your applause, but we've got, until we get through with this group, but we've got several people we need to thank tonight. And number one is Mr. Richard Fisher, who is the president and CEO of the Dallas Fed. He is one of my economic heroes, I'll have to tell you that. Next, we've got Mr. Pete Delkus, who's the head meteorologist at Channel 8, and that's kind of a tough word for a Vernon guy, too. You all know Pete, and he is a hero to me because he is the only one I've seen yet that can keep Dale Hanson's ego intact. Don't tell him I said that, Pete. Next, the honor guard of the 301 Fighter Wing that did our honor guard tonight. ROTC from Seagoville Middle School. Bill Adams, Project Healing Waters, Fort Hood. Bill, where are you? Thank you so much for bringing these warriors here and letting us thank them for what they've done for our country. Next, Matheson Company, Catherine Mathis and Emily Rembert have been the ones that really planned this whole thing and put it together. And I can tell you, they have done an unbelievable job. And if you have events, they are the ones that you want to have your event. They are organized and they can get her done. And look at this beautiful room. Catherine New, who put this together for the Anatole and the whole Anatole staff, we really appreciate what you've done. Taylor Hargrave, a great friend of mine and several others in the room that did the national anthem tonight. And that kind of sends chills up your neck. And the Reverend Dr. Peter Dyson. Pete, I've been wanting to say that all day. I love that. But thank you all very much for all you've done. I've got a few shout-outs, too, people I'd like for you to meet around the room. If they'd stand up and, again, hold your applause until we go through the whole list. But the National Board for IICF is here tonight. Would y'all please stand up? About 3 months ago, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal where they said that the Texas twang was dead. By the time I get through tonight, you will know that is absolutely a falsehood. Ben Crane, who's a great young professional golfer, is here tonight with Zurich. Pat Priest and her husband John are here from Chamber of Commerce. She's CFO and a great lady. We have a table of CPCUs here. Where are the CPCUs? Independent Insurance Agents of Dallas. They're back over here. Independent Insurance Agents of Texas, our honoree tonight. And a special thing that makes me really happy is Deborah Richardson is here tonight with a table full of risk management students from North Texas State University. When I look out at this room, I have never been prouder of our industry. I mean, I know most of the people in this room, but I can tell you, just from personal experience, I know you all do a lot for the community. You've all got lots of charities that you give to. You're all very generous and big-hearted. But when I look at and see what we've done tonight and come together as a group to raise money for these charities, it makes me very proud. When we get together like this, it's not just about writing $1,000 and $2,000 and $5,000 checks, which those are nice too, but we can do some really big things and we can do some really great things for our community. And guess what? We can do some great things for our industry as well. Probably some of the people in the room know that from time to time we get a bad rap in our industry, but I can tell you, and particularly for you young people that are here tonight, we're the real first responders. As soon as anything goes awry and there's any kind of disaster, the first one they call is the insurance agent and the company. And in addition to that, Mr. Fisher, I think you'll agree with me, if it wasn't for our industry, there's no way in the world that you could get a loan to build a house, that you could get a loan to build a nuclear power plant, that you could get a loan to build a $1 billion project. The whole economy would shut down without our industry. So you need to be proud if you're new and are just coming into the industry, and you need to be proud if you're an old bugger and you've been around for a while and you've gotten kind of cynical through the years. Anyone in here need another job? Well, I can tell you this. Where's our Texas board? If you're on the board of IICF in Texas, stand up. These people are the ones that are responsible for us being here tonight. It is a team deal. You know, I had several people come up to me before this thing tonight and say, you know, you did a good job and all that kind of stuff. Well, malarkey. All you do is like you do in your business every day. You get the right people in seats on the bus, and great things are going to happen. And that's what's happened here. But I can also tell you that there's several people on this board that went over and above the call of duty. Tom Curtin with CRC, stand up. Tom Curtin not only was leading salesman of tables, and y'all are all prospects, whether you know it or not. And if you don't already know it from my emails, you'll know it by the time we get back here next year. I'm not bashful. In addition to that, Tom, we had our volunteer day at the National Cemetery, and Tom paid for 245 barbecue lunches for all the volunteers out there, and a lot of people in this room were out there, your employees were. So Tom, thank you so much. Barbara Sutherland, also with Argonaut, just did a great job. And her buddy, Barbara Buffkin, who's not on the board, but sold just about as many tables as anybody on the board. Thank you all very much. Where are you, Barbara? Barbara's. Stand up, Barbara's. You think I'm hard to say no to. When you get to Barbara's after you, you ain't getting away. Tim Nelligan, where's Tim? Stand up, Tim. With Hartford. And Gary DeLong, where is Gary with Chubb? Okay, now I'm going to introduce you to your starting lineup. Where's Carol Mason? Stand up, Carol. You talk about the one that really spearheaded this and really made the whole board look good and got you the best meal tonight that you're probably ever going to have at one of these things that's not rubber chicken. But Carol is the executive director, and she's the one that brought it together. Bruce Basso. Stand up, Bruce. Keep standing, Bruce. Bruce and I go back a long way, almost back to where we had black hair and almost back when I had hair. just remember, whenever I get into this story, that you can't tell James Bond no. Is that not James Bond? And Bill Ross, our CEO of this whole foundation around the country. Stand up, Bill. Okay, I'm going to tell you a short story, and I'm going to try to speak English for those of you from other parts of the country. And if you don't understand, then ask somebody next to you, because somebody probably understands Texan. But about a year ago, Bruce Basso and Bill Ross called me. Actually, Bruce called and told me about the foundation and said, would you have any interest in putting together a meeting in Dallas of a group of insurance companies and a group of agents and brokers? And I said, well, Bruce, you're an old friend, and, I want to do this for you, but the truth is, we give a ton of money to charities already, and all these other guys do too. And I just really, to me, I just don't know if that would really make a lot of sense. And basically his comment was, Henry, you idiot. You simply don't get it. This is not about you, it's about our industry. And it's about all of our industry, and not just MHBT or one agency or one company or anybody else. It's a larger vision, and you have to open your eyes where you can understand what we're doing here. We've already got 3 divisions. They all give to local charities, and those charities change every year, so it's not like most of these things that you come to where it's just one charity. It'll change every year, and there might be some repeaters. And it's about volunteerism. It's about getting our industry out there and helping the community. He said, would you at least do this favor for me? He said, get me down there and let me meet these people and tell the story. So he comes down, and he's got to hook about halfway set, and they tell their story, and I'm thinking, this sounds pretty good. But the last thing I want to do is get my buddies involved in something that is not going to do what we think it's going to do. But I know Bruce is of good character. He said, would you come to Chicago at our gala there and just see what's going on? Well, Cheryl and I went up there, and I'm telling you, number one, in our cocktail hour out there, I saw tons of people I already knew. It was the who's who of the insurance industry in that part of the country. Their program was great, and what sold the deal, where are the hub people? When I saw Rick Gulliver, the president of Hub, wearing a green tuxedo with a green hat, the hook was set. What Bruce and Bill didn't know, though, is that Pete and I had been praying for a long time about a way for me to figure out a way to give back to the community and give back to our industry. I've traveled my whole career, and that's kept me from being involved in a whole lot of things that I think I would like to have done. But that was just the way it was. But you get to a point in your life, or a stage in your life, when it's not about the almighty buck. And most people in this room, it's not about the almighty buck anyway. You're looking for something bigger. And whenever they told me about this, and when I got to see what was going on, it just grabbed me. I mean, I just knew this is it. And then I go back and I tell Pete about this, Pete Dyson, the Reverend Dr. Peter Dyson. And I said, now they tell me I got to get an executive director. I've got to find somebody that can run this thing. I said, honestly, I think we can do this with just part-time help, but they tell me I can't do that. Well, look around. You can't do it with part-time help. And so Pete said, have you thought about Carol Mason? And I've known Carol forever, and I sent her an email that night, and she got right back with me. And we talked the next day, and she said, I've been thinking about the same thing myself, and let's talk more about this. Well, here we are tonight with over 500 people, nearly $300,000 in grants, and I'm hoping and praying that the checkbooks hadn't ended up yet. We got 8 quality charities and a great event. Now, if that is not divine intervention, for something like this to come together in less than 6 months, and really 3 months, you tell me what is. Vision for the future, and then I'll shut up, because y'all got to know where we're going on this. We hope to raise annually in the future $1 million in Texas. New York does it every year. If New York can do it, I guarantee you we can do it. And the next challenge for all of us is to get more Texas cities involved in this sucker. You know, we had to move quick this year because we had a short runway. We really didn't get a chance to get out on the road and tell our story. But this year, our game plan is to get out in more of these cities, let them know what's going on, and you all tell your counterparts about tonight and tell them how much fun we had, and let's fill this sucker up next year with Texas agents. Southeast, we've got two directors from the Southeast, Tom Curtin being one. Again, we didn't have time this year really to make our trip to Atlanta or to New Orleans or to Florida. Or we've got their flags up here. We got some of their money, but not nearly enough of their money for their flags. We want to get more independent agents involved. One of the things that is great about this is there are a lot of carriers involved. There are a lot of attorney firms, reinsurers, brokers. But there are not a lot of independent agents involved, and hey, that's the lifeblood of this city. Our honoree tonight will tell you about that. I mean, that's who we are, and we need to get them out in force. In addition to that, we need to get the benefit and life insurance companies involved. They're here to some degree, but nothing like they're going to be, and you can take that to the bank. Now, I'd like to thank you for your time today. I'd like to thank all you people that helped put this thing together. Thanks for your money. Don't be surprised if I call you again. Have fun, and God bless you. Is Pete Delkus handy? Pete, I've got something I'd like to say to you. Where is Pete? Trust me, this be worth the walk. He's probably back there eating his soup.
I was thinking of some Dale Hansen jokes.
Pete very graciously agreed to do this for nada. He's here as a community service, and he does a lot of that. Or at least he thought he was here for nada. Pete, every year, my company, MHBT, we select a charity at Christmas, and we give them $10,000. And this year, with IICF kicking off, we gave that $10,000 check to IICF, but with a stipulation that we get to help pick the charity that those funds will go to. And we're extremely proud of what you do with Santa's Helpers, and we'd like for you to know you're going to get a big old fat check from MHBT and IICF for $10,000.
Bill, thank you very much. I know we're going to conclude here in just a moment. You're going to eat dinner, then we're going to come back up and the program's going to continue. But I want to tell you briefly about Santa's Helpers. Tim and I were talking just a moment ago. Santa's Helpers, it's interesting. I've been here about 8 years, and Santa's Helpers is now going on its 43rd year. But we have about 70,000 kids here in the Metroplex that we give toys to each year. And it's hard. You know, Pete was up here earlier, and he got a little passionate about what you guys are doing tonight, and I'm equally passionate about Santa's Helpers, because it's hard for all of us to believe that there's some kid somewhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that's not going to get a toy for Christmas. But that's the reality of what happens, and we don't see it every day in our lives, do we? But that's what Santa's Helpers is all about, is there are kids out there that won't get a toy unless folks like you and your generosity tonight make a check, a donation, stop by Walmart or Target, pick up a toy and drop it off. But 70,000 kids each year, we make sure these kids get at least a toy. It may just be a Hot Wheel, maybe 2 Hot Wheels, but that's what Santa's Helpers is about, and that's what you're supporting tonight. So I want to thank you all very much for that. Please enjoy your dinner.